What is going on, crypto peeps? Happy Monday to you. Hope you guys are doing well. Let us jump right into the BTC analysis for the day. You'll see that we are currently forming this ascending triangle. The 50-day moving average and the 100-day moving average are flirting with converging again. But there is one important thing here. Bitcoin and a couple of other of the top alts, which we'll get into in a second, are not comfortable at the moment being above the 50 or the 100-day, at least as it relates to in USD price. If you look going all the way back to, for Bitcoin, going all the way back to February, March, every time we pop above the 50 and the 100-day, we quickly fall back down. And that is the case now. See here, we popped above the 100-day moving average, and we're not, it is now acting as support again. Based on previous history, we will likely fall below these two again. Now, the extent of this decline is not really clear to us because we do have this pattern forming, this ascending triangle pattern forming. So we would really need to break support for this pattern to be considered failed and for us to see potentially further decline. Again, I'm not swing trading Bitcoin at the moment. There are plenty of other juicy opportunities that we are swing trading, making 95% on Ravencoin, for instance. On Ravencoin, I actually sent out the alert last Thursday. You'll see here on the Discord. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. All trade alerts will be sent out on the Discord, but I sent it out last Thursday, as you see here. And I said that if it can close above 360 sat on the 4-hour, then there will be a viable entry. Our first target was 415 Satoshis, which is hilarious, and you'll see why in a second. And that is because we actually rallied all the way up to 745 Satoshis. So this was really just a matter of, you know, seeing this rounding bottom here, seeing that there was resistance on the 4-hour at around 360 sats. You'll see multiple candles trying to pierce through that 360 level. And so when you see multiple retests of a certain resistance level, obviously one of two things can happen. Either it gets rejected and it falls back down to potentially a previous fib level or previous support level, or it eventually does pierce through if we get good volume. And obviously during this time period, we were getting above average volume for Ravencoin. As you see here, the volume was dead previously and it just started ramping up, and we eventually pierced through it. Now, 415 was my first target, which is hilarious because it was at the wick of this candle going all the way back to January 22nd, but it just kept shooting through the roof. And as it climbs, you keep your stop limit trailing, right? And you keep either you keep a trailing stop limit automatically using a third-party software like 3 commas, or you keep moving it up manually. And the more that you are in profit in a coin, the wider you could set your stop limit, the more liberal you could be with your stop limit. It finally went up 95% before retracing heavily back down. It retraced, let us measure this actually. So it retraced almost 11% to where it is at now, right? So if you had your stop limit, you know, at minus 10%, for instance, you would have been stopped out. Now there are re-entry opportunities, or there could be re-entry opportunities for Raven. Again, look in the trade alerts. Link is in the description. Going back to Bitcoin real quick, just a note on the weekly, right? On the weekly, obviously there's that dreaded 200-week moving average, which is in this green right here, and we are staying above that. Now that is good because, you know, I think that if we do break this 200-week moving average, then we will see downside action to below 3K eventually. What is not so good is we are finally seeing the 50-week. If we zoom in a little bit, you'll see here, this is the 50-week and the 100-week converging, but converging in the wrong direction. We want to see usually convergence where the shorter moving average converges and rises above the longer moving average. In this case, the 50, which is the orange, is falling below the 200-week moving average. So keep your eye out on this level for Bitcoin. Again, there's no reason for me to swing trade Bitcoin. I could just see what Bitcoin is doing and swing trade alts in relation to Bitcoin's price movement. Let us look at Ethereum and Litecoin real quick because we haven't done that in a while. So looking at Ethereum is, should you be trading Ethereum and Litecoin right now? Well, looking at Ethereum, this is on the 1-day. Ethereum has formed a symmetrical triangle. You could see here with these magenta lines, right? And you see the 50 converging with the 100, but now they're moving in line. So it hasn't really risen above the 100. They kind of converged and are moving in unison right now. Ethereum is another one, just like Bitcoin, that has had trouble staying above the 50 and the 100-day moving average, going all the way back to January. Every time, January 2018, that is, every time it pops above the 50 or the 100, it quickly falls back down. And that is what likely to be the case now. We popped above the 50 and the 100. Now the 50 and the 100 are acting as support, but we are likely to move back down, especially if we don't get any healthy volume coming in. Now, this is what could be deemed as a false breakout, right? So I don't want you guys to get the notion that just because we broke out of a potentially bullish pattern, that means all is well all the time, right? It's not a hard and fast rule. Yes, those are optimal purchases, right? A breakout from especially from a potentially bullish pattern, a confirmation and a breakout could be a good buy signal, but sometimes it does fail, as is the case here. Now, this hasn't failed completely because we haven't broken below the support line, which used to be resistance of the symmetrical triangle, but we haven't exactly mooned from a breakout of this symmetrical triangle either. So it's sometimes patterns do fail. That's just the name of the game. As long as your risk reward ratio on your trades are optimal and you are entering only optimal trades, then, in the long run, you will most likely be fine. Looking at Litecoin has formed an ascending triangle. You'll see here in these thick white lines, this is where the ascending triangle is. The 50 actually did converge with 100 and is now rising above it. Litecoin looks a lot more bullish than Ethereum or Bitcoin does at the moment. And Litecoin does have its halving coming up in August, meaning that the rewards for Litecoin will be reduced. What that theoretically does in the long run is reduce the supply of the coin in the market, thereby making the intrinsic value of the coin more valuable, right? Worth a lot more, because the rewards have been halved. Essentially, you're getting half of what you used to get for mining Litecoin. So with that said, Litecoin is now trading above the 200-day moving average as well, but that is going all the way back to April 2018. That has also been a point of contention. So let's see if we can stay above that, if this ascending triangle can maintain, and if we can eventually break out in the bullish direction from this ascending triangle. I think Litecoin is a great long-term hold personally, especially at these prices and especially with the halving coming up. And you see here that, based on a very conservative Fibonacci retracement drawing where 68.5 is the one Fibonacci level, we are, currently finding resistance at 0.618. So it's not, we still have a lot more room to grow, even as it relates to this very conservative reading of the Fibonacci. And we're not even referencing, previous highs that we saw over $100 and over $200, right? So I am bullish on Litecoin more so than Ethereum and Bitcoin. Again, look out for the trade alerts for signals on Litecoin and other coins as well. I'll go over one last one, and that's Theta, because a lot of people on the Discord were asking me about Theta. And as you see here, Theta broke out of this traditional bull flag. We bought at the breakout of this bull flag here, and you see that we made almost 50% on Theta before it is, before it has retraced. My stop limit is hit on Theta, as well as most of the other traders that are part of our trading community. Now, something like this, you can use the Fibonacci retracement to find out, potential buyback points or potential re-entry points. So if you use the Fibonacci retracement and you are measuring now this leg down, right? So your 1 would be at the bottom, your 0 would be at the top, because you're measuring this retracement leg down. And you'll see that, if you do count the wicks, you'll see that Theta is now finding some support at the 0.236 fib level. This is on the daily chart. I do like to see multiple tests of a support level before jumping back in. So I will most likely not jump back in Theta at the moment, but there is a potential that it will fall to 0.382, as it did with this wick here. You'll see this long wick fall to the 0.382 fib level. That might have been actually a good re-entry point, but I mean, no rush. You can wait for a few candles to see where it retraces to, and guess what? If it does eventually break out of this level here, right? If it does form some sort of bull flag and eventually break out of this level, that can be a point of confirmation as well. So if you didn't get in at the retracement, it's not the end of the world. You could still get in at a confirmation breakout and a confirmation above a resistance level, right? It's just that it's more optimal. You know, obviously you're getting a cheaper price, so it's more optimal if you start scaling in at a re-entry, you know, based on one of the lower fib levels. Anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you got something out of it. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment if you have a question or a comment. Hit me up on the Discord if you want access to the trade alerts or you need help with your technical analysis and are interested in one-on-one video conferencing and coaching with me. That link is also in the description. Stay safe out there, guys. Peace.